as you can hear, we have a lot of summer intensive kiddos getting ready for their transitions back to school, and that's exactly what we are talking about with Ask the Expert, is transitioning back to school, preparing kids social, emotionally, gross motor, executive function, and as a mama and a parent, how you can get your kiddos ready for that transition. Joined with us today, we have Andrea. She is a physical therapist. She's also the founder of Moco Movement. And we have Taryn. She's an occupational therapist and a director here at Moco. And we're going to turn it over.
There's a lot going on
There's
here
a lot
this
going
morning
on.
for back
I love
to
it.
school, so that's,
But that's how we are with
talk a
kiddos,
little
right?
louder.
A lot of love, a lot of excitement, and it's perfect for this Ask the Expert. So I'm going to turn it over for a few seconds so Andrea can talk about the awesome practice that they have here at Moco Movement, what their philosophy is, and how they have so much energy and love in the room all the time.
Okay. So, hi guys, welcome to Moco, and Taryn and I are two out of the 17 therapists. Moco Movement Center started, we both come from pretty traditional backgrounds and realized that the children would not, really enjoy infusing the goals into activities that they have fun with. So we are physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists. Most of us come from seeing kids in traditional environments and realize that it's a good idea to find out what is exciting for a child, what motivates them, and what we can do. And then as therapists, we do evaluations, we listen to the parents' concerns, we listen to the children's concerns, and find out from there how to infuse our goals into their functional activities. We are very excited to help you guys come up with tips to help you plan the next 2 weeks, hopefully you have 2 weeks, for getting back to school. The freedom of summer was very exciting, and now we are going back to school. Some of the things that we'll talk about are having an opportunity the next couple of weeks to work on sleep, wake times, eating, preparation, backpack, and that is what Karen's specialty is, and we will make sure that we're able to give you some key tips to work with.
Perfect. So it is very hard that we're back to school, and the fact that we have these 2 weeks is that great opportunity to ask these experts some ideas that you can implement into your home starting today to smooth that transition, reduce the tears, reduce the anxiety, and make it an excellent school year for all of our kiddos. So Taryn, it's hard to believe that we are back to school. It is right
so
now.
fast.
I know. It was so sad. No more beach times, but what are some transitions? There's still Labor Day. We're not there. It's not doing good. What are some transitions from the freedom of summer and summer vacation to the structure and expectations and the demands of school? What are some things that families can do and they can incorporate and support their kiddos to help them from that side to make it a little bit easier?
So I think that you touched on one of the main transition barriers for the kids, and that is really the anxiety surrounding the transition. And that can be true for the kids themselves, and for families, it can be really anxiety producing to try and make this shift. And one of the biggest ways that as occupational therapists we try to reduce that anxiety is to really make expectations and the sequence of getting back into school really transparent. So the first thing you can do is figure out what your routine is going to be. So now is a really good time. Don't wait for the weekend before school. Really think about, when are you going to be waking up in the morning? Who is going to be responsible for getting clothes out and getting dressed? Is that going to be a parent-led routine or a student-led routine? When and what are you going to eat for breakfast? When and how are you going to get to school? And once you really have that routine ironed out for your family, give the student as much exposure to that plan as possible. So you want to talk through it really explicitly. Some of our younger students or students who really need a concrete way to look at that, a social story can be a really good tool. And that's just a simple visual, concrete story that you can write down on paper or make a little flip book. And it says, I'm going to wake up in the morning at this time. Stick a picture of their alarm clock in there. I'm going to put on my shirt and shorts and go brush my teeth. I'm going going to walk down the stairs. Really give them a visual sequence of what those steps are going to be.
And actually in our
Practice it.
in
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm saying. You're ahead of me.
Right.
You're ahead of me.
So in our personal home, right by the front door, we have this glass picture frame that has their steps of hair, teeth, and face. Did you clear your breakfast bowl? And it gives them a whole little checklist that they go through. And so oftentimes, if they're asking what to do next, or they're just not getting things done, I just say, look at your list, look at your chart.
Absolutely.
And so that practice is really key, and it alleviates that stress for the parents to then put some of that responsibility and that individuality on the student so that they have control of the situation, which ultimately helps them reduce that stress.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. And so then exactly the next step is to take that and to practice it. It's really important if you have the time. I know some schools are starting really soon. A couple schools districts are starting 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
Some are starting already.
Yes.
So whatever time you have, use that time now to really establish the sleep routine and wake routine. That I would say is the first important thing to get going in real time. So you want your students to have several days up to several weeks to really adjust to what does it feel like to go to sleep at their bedtime, what does it feel like to wake up when they're prepared for school.
And then if you have technology, if you have older kids with technology, what time is technology shutting off in your house? So that they have some lead time before they go to sleep, so that they have those in place, because in the summertime, I'm sure in a lot of homes it's just a lot of free-for-all freedom. So it's just structured, which is super amazing. Summer is a great
for that growth development. Other things happen.
Absolutely.
But it's, like you said, preparing that whole transition.
Yeah, and especially for children who have some of that anxiety or some of those executive function challenges, that transition takes a little bit longer for them than for some other children. So giving them that lead time so that their bodies feel the way that they expect them to on that first day of school. And that can be all the way down to what are the breakfast choices going to be during school. Make sure that those are the foods your child is having in those days leading up to school as well, so that they don't have any internal surprises on that first day of school.
They have uniforms.
Right. And that is so well said in terms of how is your body going to feel internally when it comes to the day of that first day of school, whether you're riding the bus, whether you're walking and standing out, getting ready to go into your classroom,
Or transition to a new program.
to a new school, right, so that you have prepared your body internally.
And medication. I mean, a lot of people take some medication, break through some medications. So how's your body feel when you're back on?
And that's a lot of our power.
Doing the medical.
And sometimes over the summer, medications have changed. And
Sports and
exactly. There's a lot of different things that go on. And I think if a child with medical needs needs to even more so have some of these accompanies to
Yes, absolutely.
in anticipation.
Yeah, and it can be tempting to sort of have that last hurrah of summer and really push it to the end. But this is a place where really that ounce of preparation is going to be worth a pound or effort in that first week of school. So really letting that child and then I would take it one step further, especially for children who are really struggling with executive function or anxiety, and practice the transition to school.
Yes.
So get up, pack your backpack, get into the car or walk the route, and help them to see what is this going to feel like to really be in the space, going to the front of the school, see the playground. If the school is open to it, which most schools are, you can check them, walk to the classroom, see the space, see where is it that my backpack's going to have to go. Because we know for executive function and anxiety, that decision-making process is really where a lot of the struggle comes in. So if we can really prepare them for all of the routine possibilities, exactly, they can
That
see their
unknown.
exactly.
So that
Then they can
cause
see their
more
energy.
anxiety.
And I would say even too, so you have kind of the two parts about that transition where you're going to the school, you're walking to the school with the backpack on prior to all the other kids, the buses, the noise. I've also had parents sit in the parking lot and just eat a lunch so that they're just sitting and watching and kind of being in that environment a little bit longer. If they can play on the playground prior to school starting. I know some schools do kind of a welcome back recess where kids get on with the principal and they play able to go a day before sneak peek, so you can just go individually, absorb what's going on around you in your environment, and then come to sneak peek as just an extra layer to reduce those anxiety and help with a positive transition.
Absolutely. And then touching on that too, the social piece can be a big anxiety, a point of anxiety for a lot of kids and families. And so another way to set them up for success there is connect with friends or social groups that we've done the year before.
Right.
Exactly. Re-foster that relationship right before school starts so that they have a really recent memory to pull from when they initiate that. You know, who are you going to eat lunch with the first day? Let's have that play date. Let's have lunch together so that you know what that's going to look like and have something to expect.
And you know what is also helpful for families is to encourage the families to encourage the child to role play questions, right? Because kids get together, what do you say, right? You're new, it's uncomfortable. So role play a couple of questions so that they have questions so they can kind of pull something out, you know, just basic, have a conversation before you go off and play. And then even to your point about who to eat lunch with, practice it, especially if you're going into kindergarten and you've not really eaten at picnic-style bench tables. A lot of county schools have that. Practicing getting in and out of those tables, practicing the trays. I will tell a trick that I've taught a lot of kiddos is that you have the milk jug and they automatically want to put the milk jug on the tray so it's sitting upright, which is a recipe for crash. So we talk about lay your milk jug down, put your thumb on top of the milk jug while you're holding the tray, and then it's all balanced and it makes it easier.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
Someone will clean it up.
Yes, you just get
It will
another
all
lunch.
be okay.
It's all gonna be okay.
But that's a really good point as well, because we know that for some of our kids, when that unexpected piece happens, it can feel like catastrophe. And that's true for any
The
child.
backpack strap breaks.
Exactly.
You know, all this stuff just happens. So we've got to also get that
Yes.
coping piece of when these things happen. It's going to happen.
Absolutely. And so as part of your social story and as part of your preparatory conversation, make problem solving and problems part of that conversation. So hey, what if they change the number of your bus? What would you do?
Yeah.
What if the friend you thought was going to hang out with you was sick that day? What's plan B?
What if they have pizza scheduled for lunch and all of a sudden it's manager's choice?
Yes, exactly.
How do you handle that?
What will you do? Help them to problem solve through. And it's important to note, we won't be able to come up with all of the problems that they might face, but we can remind them, you've solved these problems, you've solved these types of problems.
The confidence that they will be okay
And in that, identifying their helpers. So say, you know, if you come to a problem that you can't solve, who will help you? And for most elementary school students, that's going to be very clear because it's going to be their primary teacher. For older students, they might need a little bit more help knowing who that person is.
An advisor, a guidance counselor, maybe it's one of their favorite teachers, but identifying that one person, regardless if it's elementary, middle, or high, that can answer the questions and help you solve the problem and to go through it and create that advocacy portion. And that's a lot of what we do at our Right by Learning Essentials is working with kids with medical needs and teaching them those advocacy skills so that they can then be productive and solve their problems with a team surrounded by them. So we kind of talked about the social emotional. What are some gross motor skills that we can do to help our kiddos transition?
So I think it's important that
It is so nice to see you. I actually have to go see a child, but I'm leaving you for gross motor with Andrea.
Bye, Tara. Thank you.
Well, so that's great. So again, so gross motor has a lot of different categories of this, but the functional gross motor in what we actually need to get our clothing on, manage our clothing independently, manage the daytime routine, like you said, tray, opening a heavy door. In younger grades, circle time is very challenging. So getting up from the floor quick enough so you're not the last person on line every time is really important. Just a lot of different things, but the other part is, so those are functional activities. The other part is just movement at home. Like you have the summer that everyone's moving, hopefully not so much screen time, but you're outside. a lot of fun things. So now you're going to have to think about what your days are looking like, and can you get a couple of minutes in the morning to wake up your system and be alert to learn, to be ready for the day. Is there an opportunity between a day at school where you're sitting down for homework and eating, like your evening routines? So making sure that there's still time. We know that daylight is our favorite thing, but it doesn't last very long. So coming up with a plan on how you're gonna detox. Like maybe when your child comes home, the first thing they do is go out into the backyard and do something, sort of climb and do whatever they need to do. So those are two different things. So some of the things that we like to work on is practicing the backpack, putting it on themselves, making sure it's not too heavy. A big thing is buying the appropriate backpack. So when you see gross motor, that's important. But if they're being pulled backward because the backpack is too heavy, so the American Occupational Therapy Association says 10% of your body weight should be your backpack. So
What a great
you think
fact.
a 40-pound child, that's only 4 pounds. So think about
packing things up too.
for every
Of these backpacks.
and also if you have if you have executive functioning, you want to make sure everything's in there that you don't forget, or you forget, or it's empty. You have both
So there's an
extremes.
organizational piece of how to pack.
And what a
Just
great
like this
tip
gross
that
motor.
we teach. So the learning the essentials part is the academic part for students with learning needs and disabilities. And so what we teach is having a landing stop and a takeoff spot. And when you come in, whether that's a piece of carpet, whether that's a basket, it is yours. You put your bag in it. It's packed the night before. So in the morning, you're not like, I need lunch money, I need this money, I need that money, and so or your forms or whatever it is, homework. So everything's already ready to go, but it's in one spot, and you know that that's your homework spot to go to school so that you're successful, that you're
And that's
prepared
what-
and successful.
And
Yeah.
the back to school program that we're running is really good practicing that. Like, practicing, there's your homework folder. Does mom have a folder that she signs it and then she puts it back in? So all of these tips are
Learning
important.
those new routines.
And then also what happens? So now we know it can only be 4 to 5 pounds or however 10% of your child's body weight. What do you do on a situation like that? So I love your basket idea because the backpack goes in there, but now I borrowed a library book that is, like I want to learn genetics or whatever. So what do? Can I put on my backpack and carry this in front of me? Or do I have in my landing an extra bag, a little cloth bag that's for my extra stuff? And then how do I hold up? Right. So what do I do on those days? So the gross motor piece is really important. The other piece that we didn't talk about is how high that first step is to get onto a school bus. How heavy that door is to go to the portables now. These are things that to practice is really important. So, is there a way?
With medical disabilities, it's very
Right. So who again is that adult that is there to help you? Do you have a buddy at the bus stop? If like these kind of things are really important from a gross motor point of view.
And again, just practicing it to alleviate that anxiety and to really kind of help them feel comfortable, help the parents feel comfortable, because the parents are worried as well in terms of where is my baby going to be and how are they going to be safe, and to really have that practice and that understanding. You can also, we've had kiddos practice on the city bus, just so that they can get that experience, even though it's not the yellow school bus, so they can get that experience of the door opens, you need to step up, find your seat, it's moving, it's ready to go, you need to sit down quickly, and so that kind of is a nice real-time
I like that idea.
alternative.
Right. That's
Well, you have the gym, and we have the outside world.
Right. Yeah.
And they merge.
Right. Yeah.
And they merge, and that's kind of your goal, right?
Yeah,
That's the kind of
exactly.
philosophy of Moco is to
Definitely.
get the kids out into the world that they are living in, that they are being a part of, that they're being active and growing in.
And inclusive.
Inclusive.
Right. And what is? Well, we won't go into what inclusive is, but yes, but
For next time.
For
Yes,
next
that's
time.
a
In
good idea.
September,
Yes.
join in, and we're going to talk about the importance of movement. That's a good cue, right?
Right.
And we can talk a little bit more about that. People can join in.
And playground, is so important. Like, playing on that playground right now. It's a little hot. The metal pieces might be a little warm for kids' hands, but going out there practicing. So, a great tip. So your child is on the playground equipment. They're anxious about a lot of kids on the playground equipment, right? So, what happens when another child moves? If the child that has the wanting to go on because someone knocked them up. Just hold on. Let the child pass you. So you're not like, because if you're moving, then you're unstable. But if there's like 4 kids like going across the wherever, the bridge or the hanging, you just stay where you are, hold on. Once they pass, then you continue on. So then you're more stable. And so you can practice that, you can give some strategies. If the child has an experience from last year that was a negative experience, it's important to talk about that. Remember what happened last year? Like, not dwell on it, but what did you do? Remember we figured out something. Going back, 4 months is a long time. So, or 3 months, whatever it is.
Or promoting the growth opportunities independence over the summer, that you're prepared and ready.
Right, yeah.
So let me kind of piggyback on that. Right. So how do you help parents help the teachers, the caregivers, to make their child's back to school routine more comfortable?
So I think it's really an interesting idea communicating with the teacher.
Right.
So again, if you're in kindergarten, there's an opportunity to interact and engage with the teachers. You know, it's pretty established. But later on, it's harder. And so we have discovered at Moco that writing an introduction letter to your family, to the teacher about your family and child, rather than putting it in the context of this is what my child needs.
This is who my child is, a vision statement. This is my child, these are their strengths, these are the pockets of vulnerability, these are my goals, this is where I see my child.
Or just me, Justin, or me, Brandon. Like, this is just who they are today.
And try not to pre-bias them. Either way, right? This isn't my mother. This is a helpful mother. Like, don't just state the fact. This is who it is. But also, I think at a very young age, giving our children the ability to know what their accommodations are, empowering them to advocate for themselves is really important.
And the mission of our power.
Right. Yeah.
Make it a good day.
Make it a good day. And understand, what you're capable of, where you might not be, and what you are in this situation.
So you're grown up that you trust, you're a friend that you trust somebody, because especially with medically fragile children, the unexpected happens. But if they know what they're allowed and as subs there, or they just giving them the voice is really important. So in that letter, you can discuss it, and I wouldn't talk about strategies in that letter that you've been successful at home. But last year, this, and that you might be right. That might not be the intro letter. That's later on.
I think having had kids who are a little older and been through this, you start a year and it turns out a different way. You should go in with a preconceived idea of like that.
It's a new year.
Even when you have, I love teachers, but you wonder about the right match of the teachers. Sometimes those anticipations, some of the teachers turned out to be the best match for my children because we were open-minded then. So I think you really do start fresh. You had this break over the summer, you approach the year, and you go in with we're in a new place, new year, new start. It's refreshing,
Absolutely. And also, I would say, in a letter, besides that, what your child is excited about this year, what they're nervous about. That's fair to say without bombarding or overwhelming the teacher. So I think it's great to engage your child. And hopefully there's an opportunity. Teachers are going to be setting up their classes a day or two ahead. I think it's, many schools allow you to go in and enjoy yourself.
Do you have any final thoughts for us?
I mean, it's such a great opportunity for your children to grow, the tips. I think, again, we're in Maryland, we're 2 weeks out, so bedtime and wake time is really important. Slowly going backwards from the beginning of summer to more routines is really important. Also, summer packets. I don't know if people have done that. Start doing that.
Make sure you have those done.
Right. And anything that you can do to make everything the first day. Clothing. If they're used to soft clothing from the end of last year, start washing those rough new shirts and new things. Shoes are also really important. So
that's also another sense, right?
Right. Yeah. It is. So there's a lot of things that we can introduce, but really
about that. Stuff, right?
blue
Wash
jeans
those socks.
many times. Well, now they have seamless socks, so
Yeah, that's
a
true.
gift.
That's a game changer.
We never had that. We
Really?
never
It's a
had
game
that in
changer.
mind.
So there's a lot of things. Anyway,
Well, thank you
they're
for
really
all
fun.
that you do to